Captain Alex Hayes stood on the bridge of the Starship Vigil as the planet below grew larger. The holoscreen showed swirling green and blue patterns, an uncharted world in a remote sector. He tapped his cum badge, calling out to Dr. Claire. "Hill, Claire, medical report?" he asked in a calm voice. Claire Hill moved from her station and glanced at her screen. "Everything is stable here, Captain. The crew is ready for landing once we reach orbit." Pilot Mia Brown adjusted her controls. "We will enter orbit in 2 minutes. The distress signal is faint but persistent. It repeats on a hum frequency." "Engineer." Ryan Cole checked the engine readouts. "All systems are green, Captain. We can hold this position indefinitely." Alex nodded and activated the external camera feed. Space filled the viewport until the planet's atmosphere glowed with blue light. As they crossed the threshold, the sensors picked up a small life form on the surface. "Object detected," Mia said. "Human size, moving across the landscape." "Bring the image up," Claire ordered. On the holoscreen, a lone figure walked along a rocky ridge. She had pale blue skin and long silver hair that glowed in the twilight. She carried an amulet that pulsed with a soft light. Her clothes were simple but elegant, embroidered with a symbol that looked familiar to the crew. "Pause image," Alex said, leaning forward. "Look at her emblem." "Mia, your uniform has the same symbol." Mia frowned. "That is strange. It looks like the emblem of the old Zephyr expedition." "I thought that expedition never returned." Ryan studied the symbol. "The Zephyr group was part of a secret colonization mission from Earth centuries ago. Records were lost after they went off course." Claire's eyes widened. "This could mean my great-grandparents were part of that group. They wore that emblem too." Alex said quietly, "We have to find out who she is. Order a beam-down party." "Mia, set coordinates for the closest landing site." "Ryan, prep the shuttle." "Claire, bring the translator. We leave in 10 minutes. "Yes, Captain." Mia responded without hesitation. In the hangar bay, the small shuttle gleamed under the lights. Ryan helped Mia perform final checks while Claire adjusted the translation. "Device." Alex joined them as the boarding ramp sealed. Inside the shuttle, Mia guided them through atmospheric entry. The ship shook as they pierced the cloud layer, then the view opened to a rugged terrain of rocks and sparse vegetation. The air shimmered. In the late sun. Alex looked at his crew. "Remember, we don't know if she is friend or foe. Proceed with caution." Claire tested the translator. "Device is online." "I hope it works." Mia set the landing coordinates near the ridge where the girl stood. The shuttle touched down on rocky soil with a soft thud. The ramp lowered. Ryan stepped out first, scanning the area with a handheld sensor. The silent landscape was eerie and beautiful. The pale sky glowed with streaks of violet. Claire followed, lifting the translator. "Hello?" she called softly. "I am Dr. Claire Hill. We come in peace." Ryan scanned footprints leading toward a cliff. "She went that way?" They climbed the slope carefully. The only sound was the wind rustling through strange grass. At the top, they saw her again. She knelt before an ancient stone altar carved into the cliffside. She held her amulet over the carvings, as if reading the stone. Claire stepped forward, raising a hand. "Hello, we are here to help." The alien girl looked up. Her eyes were large and violet, full of surprise. She touched the amulet and whispered a word that the device tried to process. "Forebearer," the translator crackled. The girl's voice was soft and melodic. Alex stepped into view. The girl froze, staring at his uniform. She rose slowly and dropped to one knee. "Why do you kneel?" Claire asked. The girl placed her hands on the ground and bowed her head. "Honor to the marker bearer." "Marker bearer?" Ryan whispered. "The symbol," the girl said in broken English. "It marks the descendants of the old colony." "You carry the sigil of my people's ancestors." Alex exchanged looks with his team. "Then you know of the Zephyr mission?" The girl nodded. She touched her amulet and pointed at the symbol on Mia's uniform. "Only the kin may wear that mark." Mia stepped forward nervously. "I did not know. I found this uniform in the ship's archives." "I never imagined. Girl closed and held out her hand. The amulet glowed brighter. I am Lyra. Will you come with? May. Alex nodded. We will follow you, Lyra. Please lead us to your village. She glanced at the stones and then back at them. You must hurry. Danger comes with nightfall. The Shadow Claws hunt the marked. Claire looked at Alex. Shadow Claws? What? Are those? Lyra turned and led them across a narrow path. In the distance, jagged peaks cast long shadows. She walked swiftly, but with grace. As they followed, Alex thought of Earth and the lost colony. Something profound linked these humans and Lyra's people. He felt a sense of destiny. Behind him, the Vigil orbited silently, ready to protect. The sun dipped toward the horizon. Lyra glanced back. We must reach the village before dark. Only there can we be safe. Alex nodded and quickened his pace. The unknown planet held many secrets, and the first contact had only just begun. The sky grew dim as Lyra led the humans along a narrow path. Her steps were swift and sure, guiding them between rocky outcrops and patches of violet grass. Captain Alex Hayes followed closely, observing how the wind played with her silver hair. He felt a trace of hope that this meeting could change everything. Ryan Cole scanned the surroundings with his sensor. No signs of Shadow Claws so far, he said quietly. But they might track our movement. We must reach the village before dark, Lyra replied in simple words that the translator rendered clearly. My people will help us. Dr. Claire Hill glanced at the rugged landscape. What can you tell us about your people, Lyra? She asked, hoping to learn more about the hidden colony. Lyra slowed her pace. We are the children of the first kin. Our ancestors came in ships from the stars. They wore the symbol to honor the mother world. Over time, we forgot our origin. We became guardians of this land. Mia Brown touched her uniform where the emblem lay. I never imagined our heritage lived on here. I felt drawn to this mission. Perhaps it was destiny. They crested a hill and saw the village below. Small dwellings of stone and woven fiber rounded a central plaza. Soft lights glowed in windows carved into the rock. Smoke rose from cooking fires and figures moved quietly in the dusk, Ryan said. Village is about 400 meters ahead. There is a sensor dome, but it is powered down. They lower their shields at night, Lyra explained. They trust only those with the mark, Alex nodded. He activated his cum badge. Vigil, this is Hayes. Our beam-down party is close to the village. Maintain orbit and stand by for assistance. Back on the ship, the bridge crew watched the team move toward the village. Pilot Mia Brown monitored the orbit. Commander Janet Cruz spoke softly. Captain, Shadow Claw signature detected 10 kilometers west. They may be moving toward your position, Alex acknowledged. Tell them to prepare disruptor beams, but hold fire until we request. We cannot risk harming Lyra's people. On the ground, Lyra reached the plaza. She placed her hand on a carved stone pillar. 2 villagers emerged, their skin pale blue, with eyes like amethysts. They wore simple robes embroidered with the same emblem. One elder spoke in a low voice. The translator chimed. Welcome, marker bearers. May your arrival bring peace. The elder gestured for Lyra to guide the humans forward. Alex and his crew exchanged respectful bows. Claire offered a soft smile. We come as friends. We wish to learn and help. The elder nodded. Follow me. The council waits. They entered a hall lined with ancient tapestries depicting travelers and starships. Candles flickered, casting shadows on the walls. At the far end, 5 council members sat upon woven mats. Their leader, an older woman named Serana, rose slowly. Her silver hair was tied back, and her eyes shone with welcome and sorrow. She spoke in a deep tone. The translator began to render her words. Humans of the mother world. After many generations, you return to our doors? We know you carry the old promise. We honor your ancestors. But dark times loom. Shadow Claws hunt the marked. They see our symbol as a threat. Alex stepped forward. We understand your danger. We want to stand with you. Our technology and skills can help protect your people. Serana studied him. Why should we trust these words? Your people left us alone for centuries. We suffered great losses, Mia spoke gently. I wear the emblem in memory of those who dreamed of a new home. I never knew its power until now. I want to make things right. Claire added, my grandparents believed in peace. They left Earth to start anew. We can bring hope back to this world. Serana looked at Lyra. The young girl bowed her head. She whispered softly. The translator gave new text. She speaks of her bond with you. She feels that your coming was foretold. The council rose and shared a silent moment. Finally, Serana nodded. So be it. For tonight you will rest and dine with us. At dawn we share what we know of the threat. May the symbol guide us. Lyra smiled and led the humans to a simple chamber. Blankets were laid on soft mats. A table held fresh fruit, bread, and roasted tubers. The air smelled of sweet herbs. As they ate, Ryan asked Lyra about the shadow claws. What are they? How do they hunt? Lyra looked at the window where moonlight shone through carved slits. Shadow claws are creatures born of the deep darkness. They live in caves beneath these lands. They sense the symbol like a beacon. They hunt in packs at night. Once they strike, they take the marked as prey. That sounds dangerous, Mia said, slicing a piece of fruit. We need a plan to protect the village, Alex leaned back. We can erect energy shields around the perimeter. Ryan, can you adapt our shield generators for ground use? Ryan nodded. With some effort, yes. We would need power cores and field emitters. I can work with the villagers. Claire spoke up. I can help train their healers. The wounds from Shadowclaw claws are toxic. We need to prepare medical kits. Lyra's eyes shone. You show honor and care. My people will follow your lead, but we must move swiftly. The next full moon is 2 nights away. On that night, the shadow claws grow stronger. Alex glanced at the moon outside. It was young and pale. We will not wait. We will begin preparations at first light, Lyra nodded. She placed her hand on Mia's arm. Thank you for hearing my plea. You carry more than uniform. You carry our hopes. Mia smiled softly. I will not let you down. Outside, the wind rose, as if echoing the resolve within the hall. Dawn was still hours away, but in that moment, the bond between humans and Lyra's people felt real and strong. The story of kinship had taken root, promising new chapters ahead. Lyra walked ahead of the team as they left the council hall at dawn. The soft light of the twin moons faded in the sky, replaced by a pale sun that cast long shadows over the rocky paths. Captain Alex Hayes and his crew followed closely, their eyes scanning every ridge and hollow. They carried supplies from the village, and Ryan Cole shouldered a bundle of shield emitters and power cores. Dr. Claire Hill carried a small satchel of medical kits, each filled with salves and bandages, to treat the village healers. Pilot Mia Brown held a datapad, ready to record any discovery. Lyra paused at the edge of a clearing, where ancient stones lay half-buried in grass. She knelt and traced a carving on a broken pillar. This is the gateway marker, she said softly, her voice barely louder than a whisper. It shows the path our ancestors took when they first arrived. Claire crouched beside her, running her fingers over the carved symbols. The translation device crackled to life. These symbols tell of a passage under the twin moons, Claire said. It speaks of trials and dangers that awaited the first kin. Ryan stepped forward, shining his handheld light into cracks where shadows pooled. These stones are old, maybe thousands of years. The markings are worn, but they match the text in the temple. Alex watched as Lyra rose and led them toward a rocky arch. The arch stood tall and narrow, like a doorway carved by giants. Vines of pale violet trailed down the sides. Above the arch, a carving showed a circle with 3 lines, the symbol that bound their worlds. This is the entrance to the old ruins, Lyra said. My people have not dared enter since the Shadowclaws descended. They destroyed the gatekeepers long ago. Tell us more about these gatekeepers, Alex urged. Who were they and why did they guard this place? Lyra hesitated. She touched the emblem on her chest. The amulet glowed for a moment. Gatekeepers were warriors of the first kin. They used the symbol's power to keep the balance between worlds. They kept the Shadowclaws sealed beneath the stones. But over time we forgot the old rites and the seals weakened. Her voice trembled as she recalled the stories passed down by villagers. Mia looked at Alex. We need to understand how to reinforce those seals. If the Shadowclaws return in force, the village will not hold. Alex nodded. Once inside, we search for relics or texts that describe the sealing ritual. Ryan set up the shield emitters here. We need a perimeter in case the creatures attack. Ryan began unloading equipment. He unwrapped field emitters and attached them to jagged stones, connecting cables to small power cores. Each emitter hummed softly, generating a faint glow that formed a protective bubble where the team stood. Claire placed medical kits in a pack on her back. I will stay near the arch to tend to any injuries. The toxins from those wounds can spread fast. Lyra stood at the threshold of the arch. She glanced back at the village in the distance, its huts nestled between rock spires. She closed her eyes. I call on the memory of my ancestors. May their strength guide us. The group moved beneath the arch into darkness. The tunnel was narrow, walls slick with moisture. Roots and vines grew along the ceiling, and the air smelled damp and earthy. Mia switched on her torch. The beam cut through the gloom, revealing walls covered in faded paintings. They showed humans and aliens standing side by side under two moons. Look at this, Ryan said, shining his light on a figure. The painting showed a humanoid with the symbol on its chest, raising a sword toward a cave entrance. Beyond the figure, clawed shapes lurked. Claire scanned the walls with a handheld scanner. These pigments contain trace minerals from this planet. They are unique. This tells me the paintings were made here by the original colonists. Alex studied the painting. The figure stands at the threshold. That must be our path. Lyra, can you read more of the script? Lyra moved closer, her translator device translating as she whispered. These words say, when darkness rises, the chosen bearers must light the path with the herald's flame. Only then will the seal hold. Herald's flame? Mia asked, her brow furrowed. What flame? Lyra shook her head. I do not know. The legend was lost. Perhaps the flame is the power of the symbol itself. Alex frowned. We need to find more clues. Keep moving. He led the way deeper into the tunnel. The walls opened into a broad cavern lit by bioluminescent mushrooms. Their pale glow painted the cave floor in soft greens and blues. Ryan sat down a power pack and plugged it into the shield emitter on the far wall. Perimeter is almost complete. We have about 5 minutes until full power. Claire knelt by a pile of rubble near the center. Vines had woven over broken stone. There's a collapsed chamber here. Perhaps that was where the relic stood. Lyra knelt beside her and placed her hand on the stones. The amulet pulsed at her touch. A faint hum vibrated through the cave. Vines trembled as if stirred by a gentle wind. Did you feel that? Mia whispered. Lyra nodded. The symbol remembers its place? She pressed the amulet to the stone. A section of the wall glowed for a moment. Then the vines shifted, revealing a narrow door carved in the rock. Incredible, Alex breathed. Open it. He watched as Lyra pushed the vines aside and the door slid open, revealing a small chamber beyond. Inside, a stone pedestal stood at the center. On it rested a cylindrical object covered in carvings like those outside. The pedestal glowed faintly under Lyra's amulet. She stepped forward and gasped. That must be the Herald's flame container, she said. Ancients used it to channel the symbol's power. Alex glanced at his crew. Careful, we do not know if it will harm us. He raised a hand. Lyra, could you place your amulet near it? Lyra approached the pedestal carefully. She held out her amulet. The device crackled as it translated her silent words. As the amulet neared the cylinder, the carvings on it began to glow, pulsing in time with Lyra's heartbeat. The chamber trembled. Ryan braced himself against the wall. Power levels are spiking. It looks like the device is drawing energy from the symbol. Claire held her breath. The glow intensified until it filled the chamber with warm light. Then, the light shot forward in a narrow beam, tracing a circle on the floor that matched the seal shown in the paintings. Lyra stepped back, her eyes wide. It works. We can renew the seal. Alex stepped forward. We must do it quickly. The Shadow Claws will sense this power. He tapped his cum. Vigil, we have found the relic. Prepare to fire disruptor beams if we need a diversion. Outside in the deep forest beyond the village, something stirred. A low growl echoed through the trees. The ground shook as if something large moved beneath. The final test was about to begin. Night fell quickly over the valley, casting long shadows beneath the twin moons. The village lay quiet, broken only by the crackle of shield emitters humming at the edge of the rocky walls. Captain Alex Hayes stood beside Engineer Ryan Cole near the western perimeter. Ryan tightened a cable on a field generator while Alex scanned the dark tree line through his binoculars. The Shadow Claws will strike soon, Ryan said, voice low. Their hunting packs move with the darkness. The shields may hold for a time, but they will test them. Alex nodded. We have to be ready. Mia has the villagers in the caves, and Claire is with the healers. He turned his gaze to the east, where pale torchlight glowed against the stone faces. Lyra moved among the villagers, calming frightened children and guiding elders to safety. In the caves, pilot Mia Brown led a group of villagers carrying lanterns. The air was damp and cool. Roots dripped water from the cave ceiling. Villagers gathered in small clusters, whispering prayers to their ancestors. Mia knelt beside an elder named Zoran. His hair was silver and his face lined with age. Zoran, are your people safe in here? She asked gently. Orion nodded but shook his head in worry. We fear our homes now. The Shadow Claws destroy everything. If the shields fail, no shelter will stand. Mia placed a hand on his arm. Captain Hayes and Ryan are doing everything they can to hold them off. Have faith. Back outside, the first wave of Shadow Claws arrived. The creatures slunk through the trees like living shadows. Their bodies were sleek and dark, with glowing red eyes and long claws that gleamed in the moonlight. Alex raised his arm. Initiate defensive protocol. He pressed a button on his cum badge. In orbit. Pilot Mia Brown watched on the bridge of the Vigil. The ship was ready to fire if needed. Captain Hayes, we see movement on your sensors. Shadow Claws are massing. Shall we prep disruptors? Commander Janet Cruz spoke softly. Disruptor beams can scatter them, but only if they attempt to climb the walls. Hold until we have your approval. Mia replied, understood. On the ground, the shield emitters glowed brighter, forming a pale blue bubble around the village. The first Shadow Claw leaped at the shield, claws scraping the energy field. Sparks flew. Ryan held his ground. They're testing the shield. It's holding. Alex aimed a handheld disruptor pistol and fired a pulse at a creature that recoiled. Behind him, villagers shouted and retreated further inside the shield. In the cave, Claire Hill prepared her medical station. A long table held vials of antiseptic salve and bandages. She listened for sounds of battle above. When the second wave came, it was larger. Dozens of Shadow Claws rushed forward, jaws snapping. They moved with terrifying speed and coordination. Some leaped at the shield, others tried to dig under it. Alex shouted to Ryan. We need to reinforce the shield at the base. Ryan ran forward, adjusting emitters. Cables snapped into place under the rocks. The shield's hum grew louder, and the field bulged downward. Closing the gap, a Shadow Claw broke through a weak spot and lunged at a villager. Lyra was nearby. She grabbed her staff and jabbed at the creature's side. It snarled and swiped at her. She dodged, then struck its leg. It fell with a hiss. Alex ran to help. He fired his pistol, and the creature froze in place before retreating. Lyra crouched and touched its flank, then pressed her emblem. It shuddered and dissolved into shadows that vanished. The symbol did it, Alex said in awe. Lyra nodded, breathing hard. The emblem's power can repel them for a moment. But it drains me. I cannot hold it long. As the night deepened, the Shadow Claws pressed closer. Dozens circled the village. In the darkness, their eyes shone like embers. Claire heard panicked voices outside. She grabbed her medkit and dashed into the tunnel. She carried salves as she ran toward the entrance. Torches cast flickering light on the stone walls. She emerged to see two Shadow Claws tearing at the shield. One snapped at Tara, a young villager. Tara shouted as the creature's claws tore his shirt. Claire sprinted forward, raising her voice. "Get back!" She fired her disruptor pistol at one beast. It lunged and swallowed the pulse before turning away. She reached Terra and pressed a salve into his wounds. He cried out as the salve sizzled. Claire pressed firm. "Hold still." "This will help." Behind them, Alex and Ryan fought side by side. A shadow claw glided past. Ryan thrust a blade into its back. It howled and dissolved under the symbol's glow. As the battle raged, Lyra felt her strength waning. She pressed her amulet to her chest. A pulse of light radiated outward. The shadow claws stumbled and retreated. Alex saw an opportunity. He called, "Out! Fall back to the temple gate. We need to renew the seal." Villagers and crew retreated toward the archway. The shield remained, but the creatures regrouped. They circled, growling. In the temple gate, Ryan set up a second emitter. Alex checked his sidearm. Lyra knelt at the carved stones. The amulet glowed fiercely. She whispered a word. The translator crackled. "Seal renewal." Energy pulsed through the carvings, running along the lines in the stone. The archway lit up. Vines quivered and wrapped around the stones, weaving new patterns. The shadow claws charged, jaws open. But as they reached the threshold, they screeched and fell back. Vines grew from the ground, entwining them, pulling them apart into shadows that dissolved. Claire and Mia stood at the arch entrance, watching. Mia held Lyra's hand. "You're amazing." Lyra looked at the carvings. "The seal! It is stronger now. The shadow claws cannot pass." The creatures howled from beyond, but the gate held. One by one, the shadow claws faded into the darkness. Defeated. Alex approached Lyra and placed a hand on her shoulder. "You saved us all." Lyra rose slowly, exhausted. She looked at the carvings and then at the crew. "The bond of symbol and seal binds us. We are safe. For now." Ryan smiled. "We did it. Your people's home is safe tonight." Claire knelt beside Terra, who grinned despite his wounds. "See? Everything will be all right." The night was quiet again except for the hum of the shield. Villagers emerged from the caves, stretching tired limbs. Lyra's people gathered around the temple gate. Grateful and relieved. Mia looked at the twin moons overhead and whispered, "We fight best when we stand together." Alex nodded. "Tonight we proved that unity can overcome darkness." As the first light of dawn crept over the horizon, the valley was calm. The battle under Twin Moons was over, and hope rose with the sun. Lyra led the crew deeper into the temple as morning light filtered through cracks in the stone. She moved with purpose, her steps echoing softly on the smooth floor. Captain Alex Hayes followed closely, flanked by Dr. Claire Hill, engineer, Ryan Cole, and pilot Mia Brown. The air smelled of warm earth and age, and the walls glowed faintly from bioluminescent fungi. They found themselves in a vast chamber. Columns arched toward a domed ceiling painted with star patterns. Dust motes drifted in the light that fell from above. At the center of the room was a raised dais. On it lay a carving of two ships under twin moons, connected by lines that led to a third moon. Beneath the carving was an ancient star map etched into the stone. Claire knelt beside the map and ran her fingers along the lines. "This map shows our path from Earth centuries ago," she said softly. "The ships traveled along these lines, stopping at worlds. This is the chart of the Zephyr expedition." Ryan inspected the map with his scanner. "I can bring this image back to the Vigil and compare it with our archives. It matches the coordinates of at least 3 lost colonies." Lyra touched the map gently. Her amulet glowed. "I feel their presence here. My ancestors came with hope and dreams." Mia stood at the edge of the dais, looking up. "This place is like a memory." "It holds the story of both our peoples," Alex nodded. "We need to record everything. This could change history on Earth and here." They spread out. Ryan set up a holoscanner and began capturing a 3D model of the map. Claire took notes, translating symbols with her device. Lyra recited words in her native tongue that the translator tried to interpret. The text says, "From Mother World to New World we came, bearing symbol of unity, guardians of the dream. Here we lay our roots, binding 2 hearts beneath 2 moons." Claire read. Alex placed a hand on the carving of the ships. The founders wanted to build a bridge between worlds. They saw themselves as caretakers. Lyra pressed her amulet on the stone. A pulse of light traveled through the lines, making the ships glow. The map lit up. Patterns shifted, and a new chamber opened beyond the dais. "A hidden room," Ryan said, astonished. "It only reveals itself to the marked." Claire said, "That must be where the final message is." They entered the hidden room. It was small and circular, with walls covered in worn murals. The paintings showed humans and aliens standing side by side, building homes, teaching each other, living in peace. At the far end was a stone tablet resting on a pedestal. Alex approached the tablet and cleaned dust from its surface. Etched words appeared in both human script and the ancient alien language. Claire activated her device and began translating. "To those who find this place, know that you carry our legacy. We hope that our worlds would join in friendship. May the symbol guide you. When darkness comes, stand together. Remember what you share beneath the twin moons. Extend your hand in peace, for unity is our strength." Lyra bowed her head. "I never knew my people's founders. I only heard their legends." Mia placed her hand on Lyra's shoulder. "You honor them by being here today. We will carry this message back to Earth." Ryan said, "I will finish scanning this tablet and send it to the Vigil's archive. This knowledge must not be lost again." Claire looked at the mural. "Look here. This scene shows the first meeting of our peoples. It happened under the twin moons at this very place." Alex stood in the center of the room and looked at the group. "We stand where they stood, we continue their dream. We must share this truth with both worlds," Lyra nodded. "The elders will rejoice. They will restore these halls and honor the founders." Mia smiled, "And we will help. I can send people and supplies from the Vigil. We have technology that can preserve the murals and stabilize the structures." Ryan added, "I can adapt our drones to rebuild walls and remove debris. This temple can become a heritage site for both our peoples." Claire said, "Medical knowledge can heal wounds here. Shadowclaw toxins can linger in these stones. I will purify the air and treat anyone in need." Alex nodded. "We have much work to do, but first let us speak of what we have found." Lyra, will you guide us back to the village? The council must hear this." Lyra smiled, relief shining in her violet eyes. She placed a hand on the tablet. "I will lead you. Together we will unveil the truth." They left the temple, carrying scans, notes, and renewed hope. Outside, the sun shone on the village. Villagers gathered at the edge of the ruins. They stared in wonder as the crew emerged. Tsarina, the elder, approached. Her eyes were wide with emotion. "You have returned with the story of our ancestors? At last we know our origin." Alex bowed his head respectfully. "We found the star map and the final message. Your founders dreamed of unity. Now we must honor that dream." Claire presented her translations. Ryan showed Hala images on his tablet. Mia and Lyra spoke of rebuilding the temple. The villagers listened and then broke into quiet celebration. Drums sounded and voices rose in song. Lyra knelt before the crowd and raised her amulet. She whispered words of thanks in her language. Daleks watched, feeling a connection between two worlds stronger than mere history. He knew that this bond could help them face any future threat. In that moment, the truth had been unveiled and a new chapter began. As dawn broke over the valley, Lyra and the crew walked toward the starship Vigil. The ship rested on a flat clearing near the village, its hull gleaming in the morning light. Villagers gathered at a distance, their faces bright with hope. They wore simple clothes dyed in pale blue and purple, the colors of their people, and each carried small offerings of woven flowers. Captain Alex Hayes and pilot Mia Brown stood at the ramp. Mia held a small device with the emblem etched on its casing. This device would record the village's story and send it to Earth. Ryan Cole and Claire Hill followed closely, carrying equipment to help translate and preserve the history of Lyra's people. Lyra paused at the edge of the clearing. She breathed in the cool air and looked at her home, carved into the rocky hills. She felt pride and sadness. Pride that her people would join the wider galaxy at last, and sadness that she would miss the familiar voices and faces around her. Captain Hayes approached her. He offered his hand gently. "Lyra, it would be an honor to have you aboard the Vigil. Please come with us, learn of the mother world, and share your own world with others." Lyra looked at him with wide violet eyes. She placed her hand in his. "Thank you, Captain. I will go with you. I want to see where my ancestors came from, and I want to tell their story myself." As she stepped onto the ramp, the villagers began to sing. Their voices rose in a clear song that echoed against the stone walls. The hymn told of the first arrival, the promise of unity, and the light that guided them through darkness. The translation device rendered the words to the crew, but something special shone in the melody that no device could capture. Mia stood aside so Lyra could breathe in the song. She whispered softly, "Your people have a gift. They sing with their hearts." Lyra smiled. "Song holds memory. It keeps our past alive." She glanced at Ryan and Claire, who were setting up cameras to record the moment. "Thank you for preserving our history." Claire nodded. "We want everyone in the galaxy to know of your people and the bond we share. Your story will remind others of the power of unity." Ryan finished calibrating a small holo emitter near the base of the ramp. This emitter will display our journey together as a hologram. It will show the planet, the village, and the temple. It will spin in 3D so viewers can feel they are here with us. Lyra watched the device glow softly. She touched it with wonder. "I have never seen such technology. On my world, we use simple lights and paint. This is beautiful." Alex led the way into the shuttle bay inside the Vigil. The bay door hummed as it sealed behind them. Inside, the walls were smooth, and soft lights guided them to a viewing platform. Through the windows, the planet sparkled far below. A gentle hum of engines filled the air. Villagers watched from outside. Some laid flowers on the ground, creating a path that led to the ship's exit. They bowed in respect to the starship and its crew. Captain Hayes watched the scene and felt a deep connection. He tapped his cum. "Vigil, prepare for departure. Maintain orbit until further notice. We move." With our honored guest. On the ship's bridge, lights blinked as systems hummed. Commander Janet Cruz looked at the monitor showing the planet's surface. "Captain, all systems green. We await your command." Alex replied, "Stand by to lift off when Lyra steps aboard. Remind me to record the new log entry. Today marks a new chapter for both our worlds." Back in the village, Elder Serana approached Lyra. She placed her hands on Lyra's shoulders. "Go with our blessings, child. Remember that the symbol binds. U.S. beyond distance, we will sing your return." Lyra knelt before Serana and bowed her head. She whispered words of gratitude. The translator device whispered back in English, "I will carry your song in my heart." She rose, tears shining in her eyes. The villagers stood silently, watching as Lyra walked up the ramp. Captain Hayes held the hatch open. When she reached him, he offered his arm. She took it, and together they stepped into the ship. Inside, the crew welcomed Lyra. Mia showed her to a seat near the window. Claire offered tea brewed from earth leaves, and Lyra tasted it with curiosity. Ryan handed her a small notebook. "This is for your notes. I want you to record your journey so that we can share it with your people." Lyra opened the notebook. Its pages were blank and smooth. She traced the cover with her fingers. "Thank you. I will fill this with stories of new worlds." Captain Hayes took his seat at the console. He tapped the screen. The ship rose from the ground with a gentle shudder. Through the viewports, the valley below grew smaller. The villagers faded like tiny dots, but their voices drifted up in song. Lyra watched. Through the window, her face pressed against the glass. She whispered, "Farewell, my home, until we meet again." A single tear rolled down her cheek. The Vigil cleared the atmosphere and entered orbit. Ryan activated the holo emitter. Between the rows of seats, a hologram sprang to life. It showed the village nestled among rocky hills, the temple gate, and the carved map chamber. Lines traced the journey from the planet to the distant stars. Claire watched as the hologram spun slowly. This will be sent to Earth soon. The people there will learn of you and your ancestors. Lyra reached out and touched the image. I feel their presence. They welcome me home. Mia leaned in. You have a place on the vigil? We would be honored if you joined us exploring the galaxy. Lyra smiled, her violet eyes bright. I will stay with you for as long as you will have me. Together we will learn and grow. Alex entered the main log area. He tapped a button. The screen displayed a text field. He spoke clearly, recording the message. Starship Vigil, log entry Alpha 7311. The Vigil has established first contact with a hybrid civilization on planet EC 24/7. The people call themselves the First Kin. Their ancestors are descendants of the Zephyr. Expedition from Earth. We have sealed a bond of peace and cooperation. Ambassador Lyra of the First Kin joins our crew to share her culture and history. Our mission expands to include cultural exchange and joint exploration. End log, he tapped. Send. A soft chime confirmed the message was sent to Earth Command. On the bridge, crew members exchanged smiles. Lyra watched the line rise up to the stars. On the hologram, she whispered, "This is the beginning of our future." The Vigil set course for the next world on the star map. Below them, the twin moons shone over the sleeping planet. A new chapter had begun, one of friendship, unity, and shared hope. And as the ship slipped into the vast darkness, Lyra knew that no matter how far they traveled, the symbol on her chest would guide her home.